Yo everybody, what's up?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
And welcome to episode 4 of our Kopi podcast.
Thank you all for listening to us once more. And of course, today we have a very special topic.
And a very interesting topic, actually.
Yeah, because since usually we associate it, movie night. Usually there's a time to watch really cheap movies.
Yeah.
I think movies like within 10 ringgit or so, when there's like a blockbuster out, you wait for like maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, bam, 10 ringgit, you get to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, while everyone else had to pay like 15, 16, 18 ringgit.
On other days, yeah.
And then you get almost virtually like a 50% discount. But you just have to wait for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. So of course, in celebration of such a glorious movie night.
Movie day.
The movie day,
Right.
as you say, of course. Pardon my English. In celebration of such a glorious movie day that happens every week on every Wednesday, today's topic is going to be about
movies.
And it's going to be about standalone films versus the film series.
Yep. So basically, we're gonna give a comparison and we're gonna talk about the advantages, disadvantages, the goods and bads of standalone films and also film series. So when we talk about film series, we're including everything here, from the Marvel franchise, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, what else is there?
You sound very depressed when you are explaining all of this to the listeners out there. Why?
I'm fine.
I'm getting the feeling that he's not really into Marvel and all the film series that he's explaining just now. FYI, I love Thanos so much. I hope he snaps more fingers and then he snaps him off.
So you want me to?
I'm just kidding. I'm just not feeling the enthusiasm when you're saying Marvel, the film series, sequels. It almost sounds like you're just reading a script. Well, it's not reading a script, by the way, but it almost sounds like it. So
that's because I'm a fan of standalone films, actually. So I love standalone films, more so films like the top of my mind I could think of is The Arrival, Passenger, Ready Player One, which was just released early this year, if I'm not wrong. Right? So I love standalone films more than film series like Avengers or reboots or sequels. So I guess that's my problem.
Why so? Why don't you like all the Marvel stuff that comes up? Don't you love Ant-Man, Iron Man, the Hulk, our beloved Captain America, very muscular Steve Rogers and all?
Right, okay, wait, so, I think it's pretty clear that you're a fan of film series, like, especially the Avengers, right? I mean, Marvel, right?
Well, what's not to like about it is basically a time in the day where you get to see all the nice, flashy visual actions paid by very, very good money, and you sort of get to, turn off your brain for 50% of the time while you get to enjoy everything. So it's a good way to distress yourself, not to overthink things, and getting your visual treat on the silver screen.
Right, so I do like film series and blockbuster films and also reboots and sequels, and I agree with you that they're pretty fun and they're pretty wild and they're pretty exciting.
Yeah, they don't really need to think. We don't really need to think too much. I mean, I get it. There are certain movies you want to think a lot. I love that those kind of standalone intellectual movies too.
Right.
I love that. I love a challenge. But usually after a day's work and whatnot, especially during movie night, it's not the time for me to start thinking heavily about stuff lah. That one usually I'll leave it on the weekends.
Right.
The weekends, yes, I'll reserve maybe an afternoon for that before I have my dinner to ponder upon what I've just watched.
Right.
But during Wednesday night after work and after dinner, man, I'm about to go to sleep, and before I go to sleep, I'd rather just watch something that, I can sort of almost turn my brain off and just enjoy the spectacle that's happening in the cinema itself.
Okay.
Aren't you feeling this?
Well, I guess the experience is different for me. I like to really get into and really pay attention at what I'm watching. So be it whatever movie it is lah. So even if it's a film series like Avengers or any other comic book hero movie, or a standalone film like Perks of the Wallflower or any intellectual movie there is, I like to really get into the movie and really watch the thing. So here's the thing though. What my problem with the movies that we have today, the blockbusters of today and of the recent years, is that they're not getting very creative nowadays.
Really? How so? How so are they not very creative? How so is it not creative that we have finger-snapping Thanos, wisecracking Deadpool, with Celine Dion singing the opening theme song to the
That was
sequel
pretty funny,
itself?
yeah.
That's not a spoiler, by the way. It's the opening theme, so...
That's the trailer.
Yeah, I can say it, and you can tell me to shut up.
Well, I actually have some data that I would like to share with our viewers, our audience. Hey audience, I hope you're tuning to what I'm about to tell you now. So, I'm actually quoting from this guy called Kopi site. So, back in the 1996, the ratio of movies with original concepts and unoriginal concepts, like sequels, adaptations, and remakes, are 59% to 40%. A decade later, in 2006, the ratio dropped by 6%, leaving 55% being original concepts and 46% being unoriginal concepts. But fast forward to today, in 2015, right, the majority of modern cinema releases are unoriginal concepts, okay, at 55%, and only 45% being original concepts.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so there's a tip in the balance now. The balance is slowly favoring to unoriginal concepts. So this means more sequels, more adaptations, more reboots, more sequels of sequels, adaptation of sequels, sequels of adaptations, blah blah blah. You get the point.
Yeah, I get the point. And as long as all those adaptations and all those sequels are good, are of quality, I don't mind it. I mean, if it's good, if the sequel is good, and then the sequel after that is also good, then the sequel after the sequel after the sequel is also good, and we have what we call the delightful sequelception, where you have a sequel within a sequel, and another sequel within another sequel, and all of it is so fantastic that you have basically fantastic feelings within a fantastic feeling and whatnot. So we have fantastiction, and also fantasticception or whatever it is. Pardon my English, alright? But this is hell, I have to say it, because I love it so much.
Right.
All the film series and all the sequels that are out there today, I love it so much.
Yeah, I know. I love the movies that are. So if sequels are amazing, adaptations are amazing, but only if they're done right. But I think we are seeing some pretty recent adaptations and sequels that are not doing so well. Like for the example, I could quote a few that's in top of my mind.
Really?
Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the
Oh.
Zoolander 2, the Huntsman Winter Wars, Neighbors 2, so the Divergent series. So some of these sequels that are being published by Hollywood are not actually good.
Wait, Neighbors 2 was bad?
Neighbors 2 was bad.
Oh, okay.
Did you not? Did you enjoy the movie?
Well, I'm just asking. Just, casually asking if
Right.
Neighbors 2 was good or bad. Yeah, I'm just curious, that's all.
Well, it was just okay for
Yeah,
me.
it's nothing to do with, Neighbors 2 being very, very good for me, but yeah, no.
Right. And the other thing about sequels and adaptations and etc. is that they're not giving enough space for new movies and new ideas to flourish.
Well, if let's say we're basing on the statistics, like 50-something% is
Right.
unoriginal ideas,
Right.
because they're basically sequels or reboots or, franchise series.
Right.
Okay, and then the other 40-something% are original films, right?
Right.
So I say it's still pretty much there. It's
There's
not like
still room,
it's not like they've disappeared off the face of the earth. Let's not put it that way. It's not like they're 25% only, like a quarter of it.
Yep.
They're still pretty much 40-something%. You can
Yep.
easily tip that back to the originals. If you just add another 5% or 6% of original films back
Yep.
in, then you will almost be neck and neck. So I don't see the issue with that. We are nearly there. From the looks of it in today's world, we are okay. I agree to a certain extent that maybe there's a bit more of sequels and adaptations than there are original films. There's a bit more to that one side.
Yep.
Not that I'm complaining so much, but yeah, I notice it. Okay, and certain friends of mine, they really hate that. They want to watch original stuff.
Original films,
Yeah, really good stuff, like more La La Land. More,
La La Land,
I love that too. I also love my standalone films.
Right.
It's just that, yes, I know the film series, the sequels and everything, they are more prominent today. But it's not like the standalone films don't exist, they're still around. Maybe just you need to have more of them.
That's true.
Here and there, and then it should be fine. And that we're actually quite close to a perfect balance. The perfect balance of having enough of adaptations, having enough of standalones to coexist together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're nearly there. We're nearly there. I feel we're nearly there because 50-something% and 40-something%. It's just a few more percent to sort of increase the one with the lowest numbers, and then you're already there.
So it has to do with these numbers actually have to do with consumers' preference and behavior. So we consumers generally prefer characters that we've seen on screen before. Hence why the blockbuster sequels and remakes and adaptations are able to generate much more money than standalone films. And herein lies the problem. I think that a lot of money goes into the production and to make these movies right now. And I think that over the years, that trend will continue, and the disparity between original and unoriginal content would actually increase. So Hollywood producers, directors and actors and creative minds, all of the creative minds in Hollywood would actually prefer going and delving deeper into this sort of trend instead of delving into creating standalone films, because that's where the money is, and it's way more easier to convince producers to give away their money that way.
Well, not that I'm complaining if we have more Star Wars.
Well, Star Wars, I don't think...
I mean, we know that Disney is one of the biggest giants out there that are producing plenty of adaptations and whatnot. Heck, they even own Marvel, so you can say all the Marvel films you are seeing out there today because of Disney.
Right.
It's because of Disney. It's purely because of Disney. So I can't complain too much. I love the Marvel films. I love the Star Wars films. I love the Pixar films. I love a lot of the stuff that Disney is producing so far. So far, I say that with an asterisk, because I don't know if that will continue in the next decade or so. But I'm fairly optimistic, despite adaptations potentially dominating the whole film industry. But I don't know. Yeah, I can see your point.
You don't mind that future.
I mean,
what you're trying to say is you don't mind the future.
If they are good, I don't mind. If they are crap, if they are ridiculously bad, then of course no. Why would I pay for that? So they can do that as long as they are really that good and they actually earn the audience's money through pure competition, through free market.
Right.
That means you have however money you spend on it, you go and do it. Free competition. If the originals can't keep up with it, then well, what to do? Standalone will have to actually up their game, because they can't just keep relying on the fact that they're standalones. They have to find new ways of funding themselves, generating the box office that they need to, finding ways to engage with the audiences. I mean, audiences like people like me, we still enjoy standalone films, but there has to be a new way to market it to us, and a new way for us to enjoy it, so that we can still consume standalone films or nice, original and sophisticated films that win Oscars and win Emmy Awards and blah blah blah. So I'm sorry, Emmy Awards are for TV series, I think. So yeah, going a bit off topic. Oscars, let's just leave it at Oscars.
So the interesting thing is that regarding the Oscars is that majority of the time it's standalone films that actually win the awards in Oscars, right? Every year.
Right.
But the thing is that most of the time we only know these movies only after they've won an award, and only after they've gotten some publicity. Other than that, we don't really. Well, that's for me actually. Well, I'm partly guilty, but I don't know how is it with you. How do you?
I don't really agree with that so much, because I've actually experienced watching a movie before it became an Oscar thing. At least based on my knowledge, I didn't. For example, when I watched La La Land, or when I was anticipating myself to watch La La Land, I didn't know that it was an Oscar-winning film, or basically a film that was in contention for the Oscars.
Right.
Yeah, at that point they were in contention. The Oscars haven't started yet. So when I saw the poster for it and I found out a bit about it, it's a musical, I was like, oh, musical? I love musicals. So I decided, I'm gonna watch it because hey, it's a musical. We don't always get a lot of musicals out there these days. So yeah, I agree. It's like, okay. So I kind of like the standalone movies that produce musicals.
So that's your preference.
I love musicals. And usually they are standalone films. So I love the aspect of standalone.
Right.
So when I watched La La Land, I enjoyed it immensely. And to find out that later on, I think in February or March when the Oscars came, and they were in contention for winning the main prize. I mean, it was not to say quite a shock. I expected it because they are really that good.
Right.
But at least I get to say that I didn't watch it because of the Oscars.
Right.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, I watched it," and then when you ask them, "How did you find out
the Oscars?"
Then I'm like, "Yeah, at least I get to proudly say, you know what? I watched it before it was even really like a thing."
Okay.
I found out about it when it was a musical. I wanted to watch it because it was purely of musical genre.
Right.
Then I went for it. It's the same situation. Not a good example, but it's the same situation for another musical film that came out just last year.
Okay.
The Greatest Showman.
Right.
The one with Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, and Zendaya.
Right.
High School Musical meets singing Wolverine, slashing his claws around. I'm sorry.
He's way beyond High School Musical now.
So I mean, I love that. I even watched it before it became the hit that it was today.
Right.
When I wanted to watch it, a lot of my friends were thinking, The Greatest Showman, what is that? I had to tell them there's Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron in it, and then they're like,
I think that was me.
Not really. And then okay, then I went and watched it alone. Actually watched it alone. No one else followed me. And I watched it again. I enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
And it wasn't until I think the next few months I started to hear their songs around the radio.
Right.
And of course they were in contention in the Oscars again for Best Original Song, and they won it. So again, it became a sleeper hit. It became a hit after that.
Right.
And I mean, me explaining this much about standalone films, I guess, you can say also I have a soft spot for them. I love them.
Right.
I love good intellectual
Especially
films.
musicals.
Yes. But if you ask me, I mean, film series versus standalone films, I mean, the market will dictate what's going to happen. I mean, whoever pays the most money will generate the most box office, and at the end of the day, the one who earns the most has the best chance of being produced again.
Right, precisely.
And that's the reason why standalone films, I guess, don't produce sequels that much, because they are really good. They are Oscar winning, but they might not profit so much that they can warrant another sequel. Or maybe the story is created so much that there's no room for a sequel.
Yep.
Creatively, there's no way that you can serve it,
sort of spin off the tale into another sequel. That's true.
Yeah, or even do it justice as a sequel. So
right. So I think here is where standalone films and the production companies would really have to evaluate their marketing strategies, because my story is completely the opposite. Some of the movies that Aaron mentioned earlier, like La La Land and The Greatest Showman and Moonlight and The Dallas Buyer Club and and several others, I got to know of these movies from Oscars, and I watched them after they won the award, you see. So that the publicity or the light that was shined on them after them winning the award actually got them the exposure to me, right? So I think what standalone films should really do is to really evaluate how their marketing strategy is. And the other thing is, I think standalone films or generally movie producers should really be more in tune with buyers' preferences and needs, and also their behavior when they're going for movies, because I think there are some sequels and prequels that we really can't get enough of, but there are some sequels and spin-offs that we're really sick of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say there has to be a balance. Yeah, I agree there shouldn't be too much of one thing over another thing, but I mean, if you really believe that, to the listeners out there, if you really believe that, then you have to prove it by, supporting those films that you love.
Precisely.
If you love standalone films and you feel that they are somewhat marginalized in the sense that they don't get so much exposure, or the volume of standalone films are not as much as it should be, then we need to sort of take action and prove our voice by actually paying for the standalone films, going out there and supporting it, and spreading the word. If let's say their marketing strategy is not that good, then we have to do it for them. And at least it shows people that standalone films can earn our money.
Right.
And when that happens, then you can increase the likelihood of having more standalone films.
Right.
Because, sequels, adaptations, is very easy for them to get money. And of course, in a way, they are good at it because the advertising of methods and everything, it works. So that's how a free market works, I'm afraid. Capitalism at its best, or at its worst in a sense. So the whole, in a way, you can say overall with this podcast, this topic for film series versus standalone films, it really depends on the demand. Yeah, if you really want to see standalone films beating the film series, or film series beating the standalone films, it has to be proven by our attendance as moviegoers.
Right. It's all in the power of the consumer.
So if you ask us, like, in terms of this topic, which category wins the other, well, it depends. It depends on you. It depends on you and me.
Right.
We have to go out there and prove it, and then maybe at the end of the day, we can really look back and think, which one really prevailed the most.
Right.
So on that note, on who prevailed the most, I guess that's what the podcast is about, what this episode is about. So don't wait too much. Now that we have gotten you thinking about film series and standalone films, take advantage of today as a movie day and spend only just 10 ringgit or below and watch all your desired movies at your selected cinemas, be it GSC, TGV, whatever it is.
Precisely.
TGV and GSC are in Malaysia, by the way, or your respective international cinemas. So go out there, watch the films that you want and support them.
Right.
Don't leave them hanging. Support them. Be a good bro or sis. Yep.
And also, if you don't want to go, if you're too lazy to go head out to the cinemas and to watch these movies, what you can do is you can get the original DVD or CD version of these movies. You can buy them and you can bring them home and you can watch them at home. And when you're hungry, well, here's where we have to shout out to our sponsor. If you're hungry, well, guess what would be the perfect snack for you when you're watching these movies? Well, it's Hei Huang. Hei Huang is available at Linkath, and Hei Huang is the perfect snack for all of you out there if you're seeking for something that's light and healthy at the same time. So do check out Hei Huang at linkath.com. That's www.linkath.com, and we'll leave a link at the description below.
Yep. So go home. Either you go to the cinema, watch your desired movies, or you can just, go home. Yeah, Hei Huang and chill with a movie. Hei Huang and chill with a movie. There, I finished the sentence. Don't start thinking something else, okay?
Nice.
Yeah, alright. And on that note, it's time for me to go and Hei Huang and chill as well.
It's time for us to Hei
Hei Huang and chill with movie. You cannot stress this enough. Hei Huang and chill with a movie. Alright? Signing off. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye, guys. And remember, give us a like and a subscribe if you really like our content, and we'll see you soon enough.
Yep. Like us, subscribe, leave a comment. Time for us to go and chill right now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.